This is Ashley Parmeley's car. It's getting towed by detectives in Festus, Missouri, after she told them her daughter's lifeless body was inside. Ashley had no expression on her face, as if she'd blocked herself from feeling anything about it. To the detectives' horror, she was telling the truth, and that was not all.
A growing memorial in Festus where 2 children, investigators say, died at the hands of their mother.
Ashley did not just take the life of her daughter that day, but of her baby boy, too. He had not even learned to talk or started kindergarten yet. What on earth possessed Ashley to do the unthinkable at the end of May 2024? How is her case progressing at the moment? And is this tragic case similar to any others? Let's dive into the story of the mother who killed her 2 babies and brought one to the police station. Picture this. It's a brisk but sunny Tuesday morning on May 28th, 2024. The sun is rising over Festus, Missouri. People are going about their day, unaware of the horror that's about to unfold. A 36-year-old woman named Ashley Parmeley drives up to the Festus PD. She walks into the station, her clothes soaked and looking a bit disheveled. The officers on duty notice her, but nothing seems particularly alarming at first glance. Perhaps she'd had a little accident. Her expression doesn't reveal the gravity of what just happened. Then Ashley drops a bombshell. She calmly tells the officers that she has just unalived her 2 children. Her daughter, 9-year-old Scarlett, is in the trunk of her SUV right outside. The officers rush to the vehicle and find Scarlett lifeless with several gunshot wounds. They try desperately to save her, but it's too late. The little girl is pronounced dead on the spot.
Immediately went to the parking lot, identified and located a 9-year-old female victim with a gunshot wound and attempted life-saving measures, but were unable to successfully save the 9-year-old.
Imagine being one of those officers. You walk out to the parking lot, heart pounding, hoping it's all just a terrible misunderstanding. But as you open the trunk, the horrifying truth stares back at you. A young girl, lifeless and cold, a victim of an unthinkable act. The scene is surreal, almost like a nightmare from which you can't wake up.
I spoke with one of the officers guarding the crime scene out here earlier, and he said, "Sheriff, this was a tough one."
Officers deal with a lot of tough situations on a daily basis, but few officers go through things as rough as this one. This day would haunt them forever. But the nightmare doesn't end there. Ashley tells them that her 2-year-old son, Isaac, is also dead. His body is at Timber Creek Resort, a place south of Festus. Authorities race to the resort where they find Isaac's tiny body in a pool. He had drowned. First responders perform CPR, but once again, it's too late. Both children are gone.
Documents say video footage near a lake or pond in St. Francis County from a nearby camera showed her vehicle in the area, and witnesses heard a gunshot. Authorities say she drowned her son at Timber Creek Resort.
A little boy, just 2 years old, lying motionless in a pool. The scene is heart-wrenching. Lifeguards and paramedics trained to save lives find themselves powerless against the finality of death. Despite their best efforts, Isaac could not be revived. The news spreads like wildfire through the small community of Festus.
In local news, the 36-year-old Jefferson County mother who told police she killed her 2 children on Tuesday was expected to appear in court this afternoon.
Neighbors, friends, and even strangers are left in shock and disbelief. How could a mother do this? What could drive someone to such a dark place? Questions swirl, but answers are hard to come by.
Parmeley went to the Festus Police Department and told officers there that she had shot her 9-year-old daughter, Scarlett, and drowned her 2-year-old son, Isaac. Festus police immediately went outside to the mother's SUV, where they found her 9-year-old daughter suffering from gunshot wounds.
Ashley Parmeley is arrested on the spot. She faces first-degree murder charges for both children. The legal process begins, but for many the question remains: why did she do this? What could drive a mother to such a dark place? The town grapples with the horror of the event, trying to find meaning in a senseless act.
We start with breaking news just about 30 minutes ago. The Jefferson County Sheriff's Office charged that mother with second-degree murder.
The shockwaves quickly extended beyond Festus. News outlets across the country picked up the story. It's a headline that grabs attention. Mother confesses to killing her 2 children. People everywhere are horrified and saddened. Social media buzzes with reactions, disbelief, anger, sorrow. In late May 2024, the Festus station became a gathering point for grief-stricken residents. They left flowers, teddy bears, and notes of condolence. Vigils were held at the resort too, candles flickering in the night as the community came together to mourn.
There's a memorial set up for the 2-year-old outside of the Timber Creek Resort. Police say she drowned him at the resort after shooting Scarlett.
Moments like these are a time of collective sorrow, a moment to support one another in the face of unimaginable tragedy. But the Festus station was also where the detectives struggled to break down what happened that day and why. Ashley started with Scarlett. Early that morning, she drove to a secluded spot near a lake or pond in St. Francis County. There, she pulled out a firearm and fired into Scarlett, point blank. Witnesses later reported hearing the gunshots, and surveillance footage shows Ashley's car in the area around that time. With Scarlett already dead, Ashley headed to Timber Creek Resort. At this point, reportedly, her son was crying hard. He had just witnessed his mother take the life of his sister. You guys, I cannot even imagine what little Isaac must have felt in that moment. The pain, confusion, and panic are unimaginable. This was his mother, the one who was supposed to love and protect him and Scarlett at all costs. Instead, Ashley walked into a resort's garden and drowned Isaac in a fountain pool at the Timber Creek Resort. She held him underwater for 4 to 5 minutes. She told detectives once again with a blank expression on her face. The detectives could only think of those 20 minutes Ashley spent driving from the pond to the resort. What goes through a person's mind at such a time? Is it guilt, fear, or a numbing detachment from reality? These are questions that may never have answers. After committing these horrendous acts, Ashley drove back to Festus with Scarlett's body in the trunk. The sight that met the officers at the station is the one that they will never forget.
The Sheriff's Office immediately dispatched our mental health and crisis response team, along with chaplains, to both support those officers and all the other first responders that were negatively impacted by this and will continue for some time.
The community is left reeling, struggling to comprehend the enormity of what has happened. How does a small town process such a brutal and personal loss? It's a collective trauma that will linger for years. Ashley Parmeley is now in custody, and the legal machinery is slowly beginning to turn. Media is swarming the Festus station, hungry for details. Reporters stand outside, microphones ready, broadcasting the grim news to a stunned public. Inside, officers and detectives work tirelessly, piecing together the events of the day, trying to find some semblance of logic in an illogical act.
There's the likelihood that everything occurred there, which is why I wanted to share it with you. But we have a long way to go in terms of the investigation.
The evidence is damning. Witnesses, video footage, and most incriminating, her own confession. Yet, as the facts come to light, they bring no comfort. The stark reality is that 2 innocent children are dead, and a community is left to grapple with the why. At the beginning of June, one word came out in some sources: sacrifice. Reportedly, Ashley viewed the unaliving of her children as a sacrifice. However, a fuller explanation has not been released to the public, and it's unknown exactly what she meant by that. What's even more confusing, Ashley had no history of severe mental illness or significant criminal activity. Her social media profiles, now scrutinized by the public, show a seemingly normal life. Pictures of happy moments with her children, posts about everyday events, nothing to suggest the horror that was to come. The community's reaction is a mix of grief and anger. Vigils are held for Scarlett and Isaac, where people gather to mourn and seek solace.
A growing memorial in Festus for 2 children investigators say died at the hands of their mother.
Kelly, that's right. The vigil here, the memorial, has been growing throughout the entire day as people from the community continue to stop by to pay their respects. One mom told me that she has children the ages of 9-year-old Scarlett and 2-year-old Isaac and can't imagine what these families must be going through. Another woman told me that she was Scarlett's gymnastics coach.
In the midst of this, Ashley sits in jail, awaiting her fate. The legal process will be long and complex, but one thing is clear. There will be no easy answers. The tragic deaths of Scarlett and Isaac have left a permanent scar on the community of Festus, a reminder of the fragility of life and the darkness that can lurk in the most unexpected places. Let's dive into Ashley's background for a second. Who is she? What was her life like before this tragedy? Ashley was known in the community. Festus is a 13,000 people town. It's one of those places where people tend to know each other, or at least follow each other on social media. Ashley lived a relatively quiet life in Festus. On social media, her posts didn't hint at any impending doom. She shared pictures of her kids looking like any other proud mom. This just goes to show how much you think you know people through their social media accounts. Basically, not at all. On May 30th, 2023, she posted this quote: "Between what is said and not meant, and what is meant but not said, most of love is lost." She posted this a year before taking her kids' lives. Is this a cryptic message meant to show us the suffering she felt inside? Or proof that social media is only a thin, superficial veil over people's real personalities? Now let's talk about her children. Scarlett was a vibrant, bubbly 9-year-old. She loved playing softball and was always the first to join in classroom activities. Her 3rd grade teacher, Abby Tinnen, described her as kind and caring, a little girl who lit up any room. She wrote on Facebook, "Scarlett loved playing softball and talking about her little brother. She could carry on a conversation with just about anyone. At the end of the year, the award I chose for her was the Squirrel Award because of her ability to gather up people who needed a friend and make them feel included."
I just couldn't believe what I was hearing, how a woman could take her children's life. I cried, I really did. It bothered me. I have great-grandchildren and grandchildren.
Scarlett was a popular student, known for her bright smile and friendly demeanor. She was the type of child who made friends easily and was always willing to help others.
Scarlett's dad, Jason Doherty, shared these photos with us of his daughter and her brother.
Isaac, only 2 years old, was just starting to explore the world. His father, devastated by the loss, described him as his whole heart. Isaac's short life was filled with the innocent joy of a toddler, discovering new things, playing with his sister, and bringing happiness to those around him. His obituary states, "Isaac was a fun-loving boy who loved playing in the water, especially at the creek or in the shower. He also enjoyed playing with his cars, throwing stuff, picking up any stick he could find, and running around in his diaper." His death is a loss not just to his family, but to everyone who knew him. So, what went wrong? Ashley had no significant criminal record, just a few minor violations. She wasn't on the radar for any major issues. Friends and family are shocked, struggling to understand how someone they knew could commit such an atrocity. They described her as a loving mother, someone who doted on her children. What could push her to such a dark place? Jefferson County Sheriff Dave Marshak says he and his entire team of detectives are still struggling to comprehend this case.
They continue to be surprised at some of the evil that they're witnessing. And of course, our seasoned investigators, they deal with a lot of violence, but at the same time, this was particularly disturbing for our people and continues. They're very passionate about this investigation and getting to the bottom of it.
Neighbors recall seeing Ashley with her kids regularly. She seemed like any other mother, juggling the demands of work and parenthood. There were no obvious signs of distress, but as we know, appearances can be deceiving. Sometimes the most troubled people are the ones who hide it the best. Interviews with those who knew Ashley reveal a woman struggling with the pressures of life, financial difficulties, personal stress, and the challenges of single motherhood all took their toll. In 2020, she posted this on Facebook. "I isolated myself. I came off as very timid and unfriendly, and in all reality, I needed a friend more than anything. Always questioning if the kids would be happier or better off without me, being their primary caregiver because I knew that they deserved a much better role model." Whatever issues she was going through, Ashley questioned if she would truly be fit to be a single mom. Yet, these struggles are not unique. Many face similar challenges without resorting to such extreme actions. What was different for Ashley? Psychologists and experts weigh in, offering theories but no concrete answers. Some suggest she might have been suffering from a severe mental health crisis.
Because we deal with so many people with mental health issues, it's not extremely out of the ordinary to have somebody come into your law enforcement lobby who has a mental health issue or mental health crisis.
Others point to possible undiagnosed conditions or the impact of prolonged stress and trauma, but these are just theories. The truth is, we may never fully understand what drove Ashley to kill her own children.
I think there was probably some disbelief and questioning at first.
As the community grapples with these questions, life moves on. Schools reopen, businesses continue, but the shadow of tragedy lingers. Scarlett's classmates struggle to understand why their friend is gone. Parents hold their children a little tighter, reminded of the fragility of life. The loss of Scarlett and Isaac leaves a hole that can never be filled. Ashley Parmeley's legal journey has begun as of June 2024. She's charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. The evidence against her is strong. Witnesses heard the gunshots. Surveillance footage places her at the scenes.
Our investigators continue to comb through an unbelievable amount of data, including everything from Ring doorbell cameras, surveillance systems on businesses. One of the standards for law enforcement is some location services and using Google Maps and try to work backwards on a timeline.
And, of course, there's Ashley's own confession. Her first court appearance is tense. Ashley, looking worn and emotionless, waives her right to a formal arraignment. She's assigned a public defender. The charges are read out, and the potential sentences are staggering. Life in prison without parole, or even the death penalty.
Ashley Parmeley is now facing murder charges. Today she waived her formal arraignment, which means she has a public defender representing her. So the judge did not have to read those charges against her or the possible sentence that could be imposed.
The prosecutors are determined to get justice for Scarlett and Isaac. They gather every piece of evidence, every witness testimony. They paint a grim picture of a mother who planned and executed the murders of her own children. The community watches closely, seeking closure and justice for the lost children. The defense, on the other hand, begins to explore Ashley's mental state. Was she suffering from a mental illness? Was there a history of abuse or trauma that led her to this point? These are the questions that they will raise as the case progresses. They bring in expert witnesses hoping to present a narrative of a woman driven to madness by her circumstances. As the trial date approaches, the media frenzy intensifies. News outlets from every development providing updates and analysis. The courtroom becomes a stage for the unfolding drama. Legal experts weigh in, debating the possible outcomes and the strength of the evidence. Inside the courtroom, emotions run high. Family members of Scarlett and Isaac attend, their grief visible. They seek justice, but also answers. Each day brings new revelations and intense emotions. Support for the family of the victims is strong, with many attending the trial and organizing vigils. The sense of loss and anger is palpable. The jury's decision looms large. Will they be swayed by the defense's arguments about Ashley's mental state, or will the prosecution's betrayal of a calculated killer prevail? While a jury's decision is still far from concluded, an old bombshell made headlines throughout the country. Ashley's uncle, Max Parmeley, butchered his own parents in 2001. While we are not the sins of our fathers, one can only sit and wonder, are these two connected by an undiagnosed psychopathy, or does something similarly sinister run in their blood? Sadly, Ashley's case is not unique. Throughout history, there have been other mothers who have taken the lives of their children. In the United States, filicide, the act of a parent killing their own child, occurs with alarming frequency. Statistics show that parents are responsible for the deaths of about 500 children under the age of 5 each year. Globally, similar tragedies happen. In some cultures, the reasons might be different, but the pain and confusion remain the same. Experts have studied these cases extensively. They look at the psychological factors, economic stress, and social pressures. Sometimes the mother suffers from severe mental illness such as postpartum psychosis. In other instances, overwhelming life stressors push them to the edge. Understanding the motives behind such acts is crucial for prevention. It's a complex issue with no simple answers, but every case is a stark reminder of the importance of mental health support and community vigilance. One of the most infamous cases is that of Andrea Yates, who drowned her 5 children in a bathtub in 2001.
I said, oh my, and I picked up and as I continued to pick up the blanket, it was one body after another. 1, 2, 3, 4.
All right. And if you had not taken their lives, what did you think would happen to them?
They would continue stumbling.
And where would they end up?
Yates was suffering from severe postpartum depression and psychosis. Her case brought national attention to the issue of maternal mental health and the dire need for better support systems. In another tragic case, Susan Smith drowned her 2 sons by driving her car into a lake in 1994. Smith initially claimed that her children had been taken, but later confessed to the crime. Her case highlighted the issues of mental health and the impact of traumatic life events. These cases, while extreme, underscore a broader issue. Parental violence is often rooted in deep psychological distress. Many of these parents struggle with mental health issues that go unaddressed. In some instances, societal pressures and economic hardships exacerbate their condition, leading to tragic outcomes. Experts stress the importance of early intervention and support. Recognizing the signs of severe stress and mental illness in parents can prevent many of these tragedies. Community resources such as counseling and support groups can provide much-needed assistance to struggling parents. Moreover, addressing the stigma around mental health is crucial. Many parents suffer in silence, afraid to seek help for fear of judgment. Creating a supportive and understanding environment can encourage more parents to reach out before it's too late. The role of healthcare providers is also vital. Regular mental health screenings for new parents can identify those at risk and connect them with necessary resources. Education on postpartum depression and other mental health issues should be a standard part of prenatal and postnatal care. Globally, different cultures have different approaches to dealing with parental violence. In some countries, there are strong support networks for parents, while in others, mental health issues are heavily stigmatized. Understanding these cultural differences can inform better prevention strategies worldwide. As we reflect on Ashley Parmeley's case, it serves as a somber reminder of the complexities of parental violence. It's a call to action for better mental health care and stronger support systems for parents in crisis, because no child should ever face the fate that befell Scarlett and Isaac, and no community should ever have to pick up the pieces after such a tragic loss. The road to prevention is long and complex, but every step counts. By raising awareness, providing support, and fostering understanding, we can work towards a future where such tragedies are rare. Let's stay vigilant and empathetic as we wait for more updates on Ashley Parmeley's case, and hope that the rest of the family can slowly begin the harrowing journey to healing. Thanks for tuning in, you guys. What are your thoughts on this case? Do you know other similar stories we haven't mentioned? Let me know in a comment, and before you leave, you know the drill. Like, subscribe, and hit that bell button. All right, see you soon. Stay safe.